example, consider the now famous 500 euro note. I have been saying for 10 years, ever since it came out, there is no legitimate reason whatsoever for a 500 euro note. None. There is no legitimate reason for it. 2 weeks ago, the Serious Organized Crime Agency in the UK finally convinced the British banks to stop issuing 500 euro notes. You can't get them in the UK anymore. Problem is, you can still get them in 32 or 33 Eurozone countries. Now, the reason that the 500 euro note is the choice of the drug traffickers, and if I were a drug trafficker and had a magic wand, my wish would be for a 500 euro note, is because it does everything the drug trafficker needs to do. You know James Bond, how he walks around with an attaché case and says, you know, we have $1 million in the attaché case? Well, you can't get $1 million into an attaché case. $100 bills. $1 million in $100 bills stacks almost 10 feet high and weighs 10 to 11 kilos. It won't fit in an attaché case. You can't get £1 million in 50-pound notes into an attaché case. I know because we actually tried. We did a laundryman, named after a book I wrote. We did a laundryman program on the BBC, and it took us 3.5 attaché cases to get £1 million stuffed. Guess what? 500 euro notes, one attaché case, €1 million, one. So what the 500 euro note does is reduce bulk by 80%. Now, in the old days, you would sell your drugs in Spain, and you would end up with pesetas. And nobody wants pesetas because you'd have zillions of pieces of paper. So you'd have to pre-wash into, say, Deutschmark. You'd reduce the bulk. You also, by getting out of pesetas and going into Deutschmarks, you also separate the cash from the crime. Because once you're in Deutschmarks, no one knows you've sold your drugs in Spain. They think you've sold your drugs in Germany. You then have to wash into dollars. So you'd be paying the laundry fees from pesetas into Deutschmarks into dollars. Along comes the 500 euro note. Now you sell your drugs in Spain, you consolidate into 500 euro notes, and immediately, automatically, no one knows where you've sold your drugs. It could be in any one of the 32 or 33 Eurozone countries and territories. So thanks to the idiots at Brussels, you've now saved the pre-wash and the washing. And in fact, you don't even have to go to dollars because the euro, at least not necessarily in Greece these days, but the euro is supposed to be the second world currency. So you can stay in euros.